Hey, so I'm finally working on an update to the Mom Test, a new edition after 12 years and 300,000 copies, long overdue. And I just wanted to share some of the thinking about, why and when all this stuff is worth the time talking to customers. The theoretic thing, what's supposed to happen is you have some industry knowledge, which lets you pick a customer and a problem that matter. And your understanding about the customer, the problem, and the industry allows you to get some incisive insight, something non-trivial, a way that you can break the status quo, create new value, get people off their butts and trying something new. You combine the insight with what you bring to the table as a team. So your advantage, your edge, your unconditionals, what you'll always do, you'll never do, your goals, your preferences, etc. And the insight informs and the, team information constrains what is ultimately a visionary leap where you're packaging up your understanding and your insights into some sort of product or offering. That is hopefully close to the mark. The better your foundation of understanding, this bottom half, the stronger your visionary leap, because the better your intuition, right? You understand what people are trying to achieve and how their lives work. You've got a good mental model of the customer's decision-making, their priorities, their problems, their blockers, their objections. You understand the story behind the status quo, why they're doing what they're doing, which means that your first guess is, not perfect, but it's close-ish. And when that's true, you can kind of go out and bounce it off the market with, your sales, your marketing, your customer-facing stuff, and you get data back, sales data, marketing data, product data. And since your foundation was good, your customer understanding doesn't really need to change, your problem understanding doesn't really need to change, and you can do a fast, tight product iteration loop where the foundation is stable, but your product is homing in on, exactly what matters. This is, classic launch fast and iterate. Contrast this to the way it often goes wrong, which is, you know about the industry because that's trivial, but, your customer problem understanding is maybe not as complete as it could be, right? You kind of know the industry stats, but maybe you don't know really the customer's worldview. You know what they're doing, but you don't know why they're doing it. You know that they think it's suboptimal, but you don't know what else they've tried and why they haven't already fixed the problem, right? So you got some gaps. Which means your insight is maybe not as incisive as it could be, which means your visionary leap is a bit more of an optimistic guess or a hope, But anyway, you're excited about the product. Product is clear and crunchy, and you're like, yeah, let's get this to the market. So, you build it, you bounce it off customers. And this is kind of where the problem begins, because that's your first real customer-facing activity in this case, which means you're going to learn something that's pretty fundamental. So what happens is instead of just iterating on a tight product loop, you're like, whoa, this changes our whole foundation. There's something about the customer or the problem that we really didn't understand before. And like, whoa, this matters. Oh boy. And that new understanding means you now draw a new insight, and the new insight causes you to take a different visionary leap, which means it's a whole different product or offering. And so instead of just iterating on the product, you're iterating the whole business, which sounds good in theory, but this isn't always a good thing, right? Like, yeah, sometimes everything gets shaken up. It's inevitable. But a lot of these are avoidable mistakes. It's like you're having to change the foundation, not because it couldn't have been learned, but simply because you skipped it, because, you were excited to jump ahead to product. So rather than launch fast and iterate, this is more like take a guess and see what sticks. And if you can do these iterations, like some business models, some product categories, consulting, service businesses, stuff like that, have such a fast iteration loop that this kind of doesn't matter because it doesn't take any time at all to rebuild the whole thing, right? And bring it back to market. It's kind of like a brute force iteration approach. Whereas if you're in a category where it's slower, even a couple of weeks instead of a couple of days, it is really beneficial to invest the time into building this strong foundation of customer problem understanding because it saves you a bunch of restarts, wasted work and dead ends. And like a couple weeks here, a couple months there, that stuff really adds up. And, moving twice as fast is just as good as having twice as much money. So this is the justification for why a pure learning conversation, not sales, not pitching, not promotion, not deal flow, just like going out there and just like understanding your customers. This is the strategic justification for why that's worthwhile. It's building a solid foundation so that your iteration is about optimizing product rather than realizing you missed something fundamental and having to reinvent the whole thing. So anyway, just wanted to share that as I've been working on it and thinking about it. If that makes sense, if it doesn't, let me know. And yeah, we can tighten this thing up together and hopefully turn it into something useful. All right.